Good evening. I'm Robert Scully. Most of us would love to make better use of our time. The question is, how? Ever since the sundial, people have been coming up with smart ways to manage time, although very few of us are really good at it. But wait a minute. Here comes Mark Ellwood and his TimeCorder to change our wasteful ways.
It's 6 a.m. And you may plan on another hour of blissful slumber. But on a quiet street in downtown Toronto, Mark Ellwood is gearing up for another day's assault on a sloppy, inefficient, time-wasting world. He calls himself the Time Master. And by 7 o'clock, he's ready for the road. Armed with a little device he hopes will become the latest innovation in time management technology. The TimeCorder.
Let's see. We spent 5 hours and 18 minutes on meals so far this week.
It's an electronic timer to keep track of where all those precious minutes are going. Ellwood times just about everything he does, even his sleep.
If I can use it 168 hours a week successfully and it works for me, then presumably the average business person can use it for 40 or 50 hours a week only at work with no problems.
But so far, getting people to buy his product, let alone his philosophy, has proved a time-consuming business.
Basically, what it allows you to do is keep track of the time that you're spending working on different accounts.
Ellwood mortgaged his house to finance this venture, and he needs to get some hard cash coming back in.
Oh, boy.
The $85,000 he raised on the house went mainly into product development, based on a business plan that called for sales in the hundreds in the first year alone.
Our target was for, gosh, I don't know, about 500 by now, and we sold a whopping couple of dozen, and that slows things down a lot.
Venture decided to track Ellwood as he tracks his day, trying to convince everybody else to use his tracker to track their time. But keeping a tab on a guy who's this efficient isn't easy. One of our camera crews simply couldn't keep up.
There we go. We're going to shot of him jamming the truck on the lane ending here. How's it going, Mark?
Uh-oh, we've lost a sound man.
And before we could say clock time, he'd even set up an account
CBC delays, DEL.
to track how much our tracking was taking up his time.
We're up to 36 minutes already of CBC delays, and now we've got to wait for the van.
By 7:55, he's at the airport to pick up a new shipment of TimeCorders, fresh from his Halifax engineer. But Air Canada doesn't seem to have enough staff.
We're still waiting.
Busy time in the morning. A lot of the brokers are here picking up.
And things are already falling behind time. Don't think being this efficiency conscious is fun. The world can drive you crazy. But never mind, he's got his shipment, and he's only 20 minutes late.
8:16 in the morning, 16.
Ellwood knows everything about anything that takes time.
Do you know that in Toronto, the lights stay green for only 24 seconds? But if you lengthen the amount of time the green light was on, the percentage of time that the cars are able to move would increase from 31% to, I think it was about 36 or 7%.
But has he convinced anybody of this?
Not yet. I think I have to write a letter to Commissioner of Traffic or somebody like that.
Time is money, as the saying goes, and Mark Ellwood's banking on the fact that most of us want to make every minute count. That may sound like a modern obsession, but it's actually an old idea. People have been trying to make time more productive ever since the Industrial Revolution brought the assembly line to America. Henry Ford knew time was money, and so did Charlie Chaplin in his movie Modern Times.
Quit stalling, get back to work.
That was back in 1936. And these days, it's not just blue-collar workers who are up against the clock. It's 8:33, and Ellwood is already on his second call of the day. Completely Mobile, a successful distributor of cellular phones, has agreed to test market his invention. Sales have been slow here, too.
Look at this.
But Ellwood's brought encouraging news.
I was using some of the numbers that they had kindly sent to us.
He's found a 10-hour error on the timesheets of a company he's been trying to woo.
Okay, this is supposed to add up to 74 hours. So there's an inaccuracy on there. Poor lady is getting shortchanged by 10 hours.
If only he can turn hard data like this into TimeCorder customers.
So
Yeah,
buy a TimeCorder.
That's billable hours.
That's right.
It just paid for itself 3 times over.
You got it.
They'll talk again later, but it's time to move on.
Appointment's at 9:30, and we should be able to make it there just about on time.
Unless, of course, something else goes wrong.
Oh, great. The windshield wiper fell off. Okay, we're going to try this with no wipers.
10 minutes later, things aren't looking pretty. But if he stops to fix the wipers, he'll be late for his next appointment.
As long as you can see shapes.
Yeah.
It's man against the elements and the clock. And just when it seems that man might win,
Oh, we just run into the famous Gardner Expressway traffic jam. Uh-oh, we're low on gas, too. This could get scary.
it's after 10, but he's back on track,
Oh, shortcut.
shaving off seconds as he goes.
Oh, hold that elevator. These guys are really slowing me down. Go ahead and press A. And I think I entered something on there. There's a little dancing dollar sign.
Yeah.
And that indicates that it's ticking. Well, time is money, right?
Ellwood hopes to make a sale here. This PR company, Spectrum, admits it's taking too much time just keeping track of their time.
It's very, very time-consuming.
But at $495 a unit, are they buying?
Where do we want to go from here? I mean, I've got the units in the car. I can drop one off to you and get yourself all set for the new year.
Well,
Or do you want to...
I think we'd like a loan, if that...
Everybody's willing to try it out for free, of course, and Ellwood reluctantly agrees. But he's already got 6 others out on loan.
When your time is money, the TimeCorder counts. Hi, this is Mark Ellwood.
Ellwood may be right that time is money, but he still has to figure out a way to make some money out of his time. 11:35 and a stop for gas.
How far
behind schedule are we now?
Well, sorry, I shouldn't say you guys are wasting an hour and 4 minutes. You helped...
Move the head a little bit?
What, sorry?
Can you move the map a little bit?
Move? Oh, hey, sure.
If he had $1 for every hour he's logged getting his time machine off the ground, he'd be a wealthy man. But his big break is just around the corner. 12:25 and he makes his first sale, not just of the day, but of the last 2 weeks.
So you need to know how much time you're spending on all these different jobs.
Absolutely important.
These interior designers think
what do you do,
TimeCorder
right?
sounds like a pretty
Lovely.
good idea.
How many do you want?
Well, we would certainly like to start with one.
Great. Do you know I actually have one in the car?
So the question is, will time run out on the time machine? In the year it's taken to get his idea to market, Mark Ellwood's learned a lot about the world.
Deep down inside, it's a scary situation. Will people buy these things? And I really wonder if the momentum is there. Are people going to respond to it? Sure, I mean, for me, it's very important to, if I miss some hours, to log them in or whatever. And I don't know if the rest of the world is going to buy into the product the same way I have.
Back on the battlefield, it's the afternoon. A 25-minute bite for lunch, a quick stop at the graphic designer to discuss some new TimeCorder packaging,
11 minutes? Boy, we don't waste time, do we?
and time to sit down with the accountant to go over numbers of a different kind, the year-end bottom line.
Basically, at the end of it, we have a net loss of $54,000.
Right.
You've done what you wanted to in 1 year, right? You wanted to have a product, but now we want to see sales versus
Right.
costs.
Ellwood calls it a day and heads off in search of sales. The TimeCorder's tally? How'd it go?
Well, let's see. We spent 4 hours and 20 minutes working on the TimeCorder and 2 hours and 17 minutes traveling through about 90 kilometers or so, and 2 hours and 14 minutes waiting for you throughout the day, and 25 minutes on meals. Certainly a productive day.
As the working world rolls inefficiently on, Ellwood's newest idea is selling his expertise rather than just his product. Will he find his market in time? Only time will tell. For Venture, I'm Nora Pratt.